You're listening to episode 27 here on the Air Hug Community. Hey, welcome to the Air Hug Community. I am Judy Arizosa, your host, and I created the Air Hug Community to bring you stories from guests and myself that ultimately help improve the lives of others and boomerang back to improve your life. So we cover all sorts of topics like relationships and personal development, how you see the world, and just behaviors that actually affect yourself and others. So strap in, sit down, welcome, and thank you so much for joining in. Hey, do you know what another name for hand sanitizer is? It's a paper cut identifier. Ouch. Yeah, ask me how I know. OMG. Okay, so we talk a lot about hydration. I talk a lot about hydration and try to stay hydrated. So how can you stay hydrated without this whole paper cut thing going on when you're running to the bathroom like 17 times a day, like literally every hour? It's like, oh yeah, I gotcha. Okay, anyways, that's a connection that we really don't want to have. But anyways, today's topic is all about connection. So I hope you don't mind the hand sanitizer little reference. I just thought I would share that today. But anyways, let's move on. I don't know if it's just me, but have you ever felt like you get signs from God or the universe? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sitting up paying attention. So this whole concept of connection has been literally coming up in conversations all over the place for probably the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's coming up in our nutrition coaching group. It's coming up with people that I know who are working from home and have been doing so now for the last 9 months when it's not really how they normally work. In fact, I think 2020 and 2021 have definitely thrown us for a loop. It's safe to say that, it can actually go without saying at this point, right? But the one phrase of the moment that I really despise is social distance. And I really feel like I know we need to stop using that term, all right? It's number one, it's inaccurate, and it creates negative thoughts. It's not at all encouraging about how we are dealing with this current situation that we are in the world. So now more than ever, we need to stay connected in the world. And using the term social distance implies isolation, all right? And remember this, what we believe, we manifest, or we believe what we manifest, right? So if you keep using this word isolation, 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 we're going to stay and feel isolated. And like I said, now more than ever, we need to avoid being isolated in an emotional sense, all right? So a much better term is physical distance. In fact, I like to say, and I didn't coin this phrase, but it's just, it really reflects my opinion on this: 6 feet apart and close at heart. I have no idea where I heard this, but it really stuck to me. And I'd like it to stick for you too. So here's the thing, right? We are a social species. We need to be socially connected. That's the way Homo sapiens are, all right? And the ways that we connect is important. So social support is a huge part of our life. And I don't know if you know this, but research has actually shown that the number one factor in positive body change, aka weight loss, but I hate the term weight loss. I much prefer to say positive body change, is the number one way to sustain that is through social support. So there are many factors that go into that, but the number one most important factor, and I wish I could remember the study, I can't, but you could probably Google it, is social support. So it's a known factor. And of course, there are a lot of other factors too, right? But social support can mean things like posting on social media. So I have a Facebook friend, and that's all I'm going to say about that, that is on a beautiful journey to become healthier, and it does involve weight loss. And every single time I happen to see a post that this person is putting up of some positive thing they've done to reinforce their journey, I make it a point to go and comment on it. And now that I've commented on it a number of times, it pops up in my feed more often. So it's just in the feedback from that person has been really positive. They are very appreciative. And they, at one point, were apologizing for putting up these posts. And I chimed in and said, do not apologize, because this is exactly what's helping you. So just let it go and do it. If there are people who are not interested in it, they can just scroll on by. They don't have to read your post, right? So other ways that we can stay socially connected when we're on a journey like this is having an accountability partner and, of course, a coach. So the more social connection we have, the better, all right? So our chances of creating a habit are much more enhanced when we have social support. So, all right, that's one way that I'm talking about connection. Here's another type of connection that needs, or another way, let me put it this way, another way that connection helps us. My goodness, at least once per episode I have to get tongue-tied. Otherwise, it's not an episode. Anyways, so another benefit of connection is what I'm talking about here is it keeps us from feeling isolated and burnt out if we're at home, working at home, or in a situation where we're a lot more alone than what we're used to be. Specifically, I'm talking about our work life. Or some of us work from home all the time, but not everybody does. And even people who do work from home are still feeling isolated and need that connection. So what can we do? Schedule in a coffee and FaceTime date with someone, off the record, not during working hours or when you're taking a break, or a happy hour. Alcohol is, of course, optional. Get on a phone call or schedule a walking date. That's my personal favorite. I love having walking dates with friends. I like having them with my dogs too, and they're wonderful, but they don't give you the same kind of connection. So even though we might say they're our best friends. So it's not in these little social dates that we're looking for approval. And I want to really make sure you understand that. We're looking to have meaningful conversation. So I want to say something here that I want you to think about for a minute. Validation does not mean connection. So we're not looking for validation. We're just looking for connection, okay? Maybe a little bit of encouragement, maybe a little bit of give and take. As far as listening goes, you can give your ear, and then you can also give your opinion, or, just talk back and forth and have an actual discussion. So this is way more important than people give it credit for. So let's recap really quick here, because we talked about two things where social support is very helpful. One is when we're changing physical habits to make a positive body change. And usually this involves, nutrition and exercise or movement. And then we're talking about minimizing the isolated feeling of working alone. So we're minimizing the emotional isolation, all right? And making interactions with people to kind of work to avoid that. So, or at least so that we're not alone all the time. And so, when you're in a meeting with your colleagues and you're talking about work, that's not social connection, right? That's a work requirement. So that's different. All right. So you could actually even be, a mom in a busy household and still feel isolated. In fact, before the internet, when I was a mom, a home alone with 4 kids, I can tell you, this is so funny. We didn't have a cordless phone in our first house. We had phones, and we certainly didn't have mobile phones or the internet. We had phones on the wall, and in the kitchen, the phone cord was really, really long. So I would put my kids down for a nap. I didn't even intend to tell this story, but this is a great example of connection. And my girlfriends and I would get on the phone and we would talk during their kids' nap time. And let me tell you, I had the cleanest kitchen because I would stay on the phone long enough to get the kitchen like super clean. I mean, I can remember washing the floor. I'm like, what else can I clean? We're still chatting. Sometimes it would last the whole nap time. But that was our social connection because, in that way, we couldn't leave the house. We had kids napping, but we could talk to each other and we could just give each other social support. It was wonderful. It was definitely a recharge to know that we could like just get through the rest of the day. So there's a third type of connection here that I would like to talk about, and it's different because this is between you and you. So it's staying connected to your why. And so, what is your why and what is it that you desire? So, a lot of times this is directly related to someone trying to make, again, a positive body change, but it could also be related to someone working to acquire skills to get a career change or some other big change in their life. So, the big thing is, what is your why? Why do you want what it is that you desire so much? So a lot of women come to me and they think what they really want is weight loss, okay? And actually, when we peel back the layers, we find out a lot of things. So people will come to me and we'll do like an initial consult, and I've done this with hundreds of women. They're in pain, they're unhappy with themselves, and they have a strong dissatisfaction with their current way of being. So this is when I will ask them 5 questions. So here is an example. I will say, what is it that you want? And the most obvious and usually the first answer is, I want to lose weight. So I'll say, okay, why do you want to lose weight? And this is just an example. I'll say, well, I'm tired all the time and I want to feel energy and get off my medicines. Okay, why do you want energy and why do you want to get off your medicines? Well, I want to be able to prevent myself from getting diseases but being dependent on medicines, and I want to be able to spend time with my family and socializing and doing things that I want to do without feeling so exhausted all the time. I say, okay, why do you want that? And then they think for a minute and they'll say, well, I don't want to be a spectator in my own life. I want to participate fully and I want to live a full, active, fulfilled life. Okay, so now we understand that their why is basically they have a fear of missing out and they want to enjoy life fullest, right? Are you really living if you're suffering? No. Okay, so we go through all that and we recognize that change is hard, right? But staying focused on our why and having social support and going slow are all important factors in this journey. So we have to remember first, when we first start out on these types of journeys, and this could apply again to preparing for a career change or some other big change in your life, right? At the beginning, there is no gratification. We just have to trust the process and stick to the plan. So social support at this early stage is very, very supportive because it's just having your own be a cheerleader to someone else. They will be a cheerleader to you. Come on, you got this. You can keep going. It's kind of like when you're in a tough workout and you need the support of finishing. And as long as I'm able to talk, I will always give positive support to people, of course, along with form pointers. But social support it's very supportive, right? And you can get that from an accountability partner, from friends, from the support of your significant other, and of course from a coach, and also from people who have gone before you on this journey. In fact, all of these things are super, super important. So I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine. And she was a great inspiration to me. She's a lovely lady, and I never would have known this, but when she was a young woman, she was a smoker, and she wanted to quit smoking. So she purposely told everybody she knew that she was going to quit smoking. So now she actually felt like she had to live up to what she said because she didn't want to be a liar and she didn't want to be She wanted to be true to her words. It's not that she identified herself as any particular thing, but what she knew was that when she said something, she told her friends, and they were watching out for her. So she went to them for support in the way of a declaration and was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And she did, lo and behold, get a lot of support from her friends, and she did quit smoking. In fact, I never knew her to be a smoker, which is so funny because she said she was a heavy smoker for some time. So that's pretty cool. Here's another thing I want to talk about, getting back to this connection with your why. Using a journal. Now, using a journal for your why frequently can actually help you because you get it out there on paper. You know, your why is not just a passing thought that you think about like for 5 minutes and then move on. But I think a lot of times it can be that way. But when that happens, the pain keeps coming back and back, and your desires are like, you have the desire to do better, but you have to remember the why. Why is that important? And you go through those 5 questions. So get it out on paper. In fact, I say get it out on paper daily in your daily little journal. Take 2 minutes, and we've had big discussions with this in our nutrition group about what kind of journal we like. And I think the best kind of journal for you to use is the one that looks best to you and the one that you're actually going to look forward to picking up. Now, I've been through like 5 or 6 different types of journals. And for 2021, I'm trying an all new one. And so far, I'm very much enjoying it. So it's the one that you're going to actually fill out. But anyways, I just have to start laughing because when I was making my notes for this episode, right at this point, I actually stopped. I went to that journal and I wrote some things down with regard to my why. And then I came back. I'm like, okay, feel better now. I just did my why for today. So anyways, I just wanted to share that because we are not always super motivated. So not even coaches are always super motivated. And writing these things out helps us reconnect with our why and our purpose. So let's do something here. Let's retire the term social distance. I would really like us to think of being physically distant and socially connected. So we are going to be 6 feet apart and close at heart. So what are some ways that you can connect with other people? And remember, this is going to benefit everyone involved in this connection. It's going to benefit you and it's going to benefit those that you reach out to. So one way that you may not think of as being a connection, but is definitely a connection, is to send someone a thank you note. So I'm sure somewhere in your life there is someone that you need to thank for something, whether it's something tangible or words they said or how they made you feel. You know, just send out a quick thank you note. And very often when this happens, people will respond back to you and a connection starts and you can start a conversation. In fact, this just happened with my sister. I have a sister who lives many, many states away. And she sent me a little thank you note for a little Zoom event that another sister and I had put together. And of course, that got me, I'm like, I'm going to give her a phone call. So we got on the phone and we had a very nice, like, hour-long chat, you know, and it's all because of that little thank you note. So totally unexpected, but it was quite lovely, actually. Okay, speaking of phone calls, you know, make a phone call. Pick up the phone and call someone. This is very obvious, but I think it's super valuable and underappreciated and under thought of. You know, I know in the old days, people would just pick up the phone and whatever. Now people are like, you got to text someone and say, are you available for a call? You know what I say? Just make a phone call. If they don't answer, they can leave a message. You know, if they didn't get the message, you can leave them a text message and then say, hey, you know, I wanted to connect with you. When can you call? Or when can you chat? So how about organizing a video happy hour or coffee hour with your friends? If you would like to get to know your work colleagues better, you could do it, you know, with work people, but you can also do it with old friends or family members, all right? Or join or create a book club. Or here's one. I haven't done this, but I think it sounds like a really fun idea to have a cook-off with friends, kind of like everyone get together with a recipe ahead of time. This is only if you really like to cook. I do like to cook, so I think it would be kind of cool. And everyone get on FaceTime or Zoom and actually make the recipe in real time together. I think that would be hysterical. So anyways, that's just me. I don't know. Would you do that? I would love to know if you would actually do that. All right, so I got to tell you something. I did an email search in my inbox, and I actually searched the word connect. And this is crazy. Not only did it come up every single day, but multiple times a day. And I really wasn't that surprised because marketers know that this is a pain point for most people. And so it's our human nature to stay connected. And so when they reach out with, apparently I must be on a lot of lists where people send me propaganda because I get these connection emails like multiple times a day. But it's just a great example of how this is one of our pain points, and we are a social species. So one of the big lessons from 2020 and leading into 2021 is that to be human is to seek connection, right? To ourself and to our purpose and to others in our species. It's very important. In fact, I would argue it's more important because of the physical distance that we need to be in right now. So the thing is, the old ways of doing this are not always available. So we need to create social connections and nurture them in new ways, kind of like what I talked about a few minutes ago. So here's a great example. Last month, an Instagram acquaintance of mine, a woman I became acquainted with on Instagram, actually reached out in a message, and she's like, you know what, I really need to talk to someone today. And so I responded back. I was like, okay, red flag here. This woman needs to talk. Like, I don't know her that well, but there isn't anything that I'm doing that's that important that I can't really stop and talk to her, because I was really worried. I couldn't really tell from, there's no inflection in the voice. So we got on the phone and we chatted for over an hour. And actually now we are friends. In fact, this led to episode 23, which is my friend Jerry McNeese. And she talked all about how the universe provides for you what you need, and how she even used signs from the universe to get on the Oprah show. It was a fascinating conversation, and we didn't even talk about this in our conversation on the phone, and I'm so glad we didn't, because when it came out in the interview, it was the first time we had chatted about it, and it was so much fun. So if you're interested, you can go back and listen to episode 23. So here's my thought to leave you with today. Reach out. Don't wait for others to reach out to you, because they may really just be afraid to do it or may not be thinking in that. Reach out like my friend Jerry, and look, you might even get a new friend out of it. Don't suppress the sucky feeling. The sucky feeling is going to be there, but find someone to chat with. And it's not a bitch session. It's just a connection. So just keep that in mind. And of course, practice being as good a listener as you are a talker. And that will come back to help you tenfold. So this has been a great episode. I just really wanted to talk about this because if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I post this a lot in my stories, and on Facebook too. I will say, hey, don't forget to connect with people. Reach out. You're not only helping yourself, you're helping others. And of course, when we do that, it does come back to us in ways more than we expect it to. So if you would like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and also now on Clubhouse, and I use the same handle on all of those, Judy Arizosa. I am on Facebook as Judy Arizosa as well. And then if you would like to just send me an email, go ahead and reach out at judy@judyarizosa.com, and I'll pop that into the show notes so that you can look at it. You don't have to remember all this. FYI, if you would like more information on my nutrition program, you can visit judyarizosa.com and click on the services tab, or reach out to me by email or by message on any one of those platforms. We can get on the phone, we can chat, and see what might be a good fit for you. So thank you very much for lending me your ear today. I'm always grateful for you as a friendly listener. And do me a favor, please hit subscribe, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcast. If you have an Apple device, please use the Apple app. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. This way, Apple will push this podcast out to more people who are possibly also seeking connection and just looking for, in this time of physical distance, social connection. So do me a favor also and grab a screenshot, do your friends a favor, share this on your social media and even in your text messages to your friends. Let's stay connected. Thank you very much, and remember, new episodes come out every single Tuesday here on the AirHug community.